Look at that stud of a rainbow. Wow. What a beautiful fish. Incredible. He's heavy. He's super heavy. Wow. Very nice. Fish on the trigger spoon.
Oh man, that feels like a good fish. Of course, I'm going pretty fast. There we go. I'm into the top shot. I'm running a 50-foot top shot today. 50 feet of 17-pound fluoro, and then a 48-inch 10-pound fluorocarbon leader off of a trolling swivel. Trigger spoon, baby. Getting it done. Copper.
Howdy guys, Cal Kellogg here. Welcome back to the channel. And if you're not already a subscriber, please take a second to hit that subscribe button down there and the bell notification. And that way, if you like this content, you'll always know when I'm here on YouTube talking about fishing tactics. And today, we are going to talk about trout spoons. I have had a ton of requests for information about trout spoons, and I'm actually going to shoot 3 separate videos today. And I'm filming in an area where I haven't filmed before. This is kind of my crazy laboratory down here in one part of my yard underneath the deck, and this is where I got my big giant gold pan here and stuff like that. This is where I process, you know, pay dirt and do different kinds of projects. So it seemed pretty shady today under here. It's a Saturday. A lot of people are out and about making noises. So if you hear some noise, please excuse that. But I thought this was a good place to film today, to actually film all 3 of these videos. So let's start off talking about trout spoons. And one of the questions I've been getting is, how do I use trout spoons? Now, I use an array of different baits when I'm out guiding or when I'm just out on my boat or my kayak just trying to get into some trout. You know, I use a lot of soft plastics. I use a lot of spoons. I use, you know, plugs like this Rapala here. And I also am a very avid fly troller. But guys have been asking me, how do I use spoons? You know, what's their place in my arsenal? And first of all, let me just kind of, some weird sun on there, but let me just kind of go over some various types of spoons to kind of get to the heart of how I use spoons most often. You see these 2 little guys over here. This is my Trigger Spoon Junior. This is my micro trigger spoon. That could be, you know, Dick Knights, could be a variety of different spoons. What distinguishes these guys from the rest of the spoons on this pool floaty is the speed that I control them with. You know, these spoons both top out at about 1.8 to 2 miles an hour. And for that reason, I kind of consider them finesse spoons, spoons that I'm going to use to work a very small area of the lake where I already know the fish are feeding and I'm going to grind on them. So I kind of consider those lower speed spoons to be finesse spoons. By and large, most of my spoon work out on the lake, I'm using the spoon as a search bait, as a bait to cover water with, a bait that I'm hoping to encounter and actively feeding fish with. Now, I may find the fish, and you know, when I'm doing that, I want to be moving at a fairly brisk clip, typically anywhere from about 2.5 to 3.5 miles an hour. The goal is to cover water as quickly as possible, eliminate unproductive water, and to zero in on some areas that are holding fish. Now, I may not catch anything on the spoons when I'm going fast, but I may locate some promising structure or fish on structure that I want to explore with a slower, you know, presentation that might appeal to inactive fish better. I may go out first thing in the morning, I may pop a couple, 2-3 fish on the spoons, and then that bite may die. Well, they've kind of showed me their hand. They've showed me where trout are holding, and a lot of times I can slow down, catch some more fish, and then if I get that afternoon breeze, get a little bit of white cap or chop action on top of the water, sometimes that fast trolling bite will come right back. But by and large, you know, when I put on a spoon, I'm using it as a search bait, and I kind of put, you know, lures like this Countdown Rapala. That's why I've got that on the floaty too. Kind of put those in the same category. They're lures. They represent bait fish, but they're lures that you know, you want to keep moving quickly, and you can cover a lot of water with them. before I started guiding, before I started being out on the water, you know, many days a week, sometimes every day for a month, my attitude towards spoons was a little bit different. You know, I kind of saw them as a be-all, end-all bait, and they're very effective, but I encounter a lot of situations out on the water where a spoon is not the best choice. And I don't know if I would have believed that or would have said that 10 years ago. Spoons were often my first choice back then, and it was something I stayed with all day long. And I often caught fish on them all day long, but when I'm out on my boat with 3 or 4 anglers and everybody wants to catch fish, it's important for me to get a maximum amount of bites. I go out by myself and I get 6 fish in an afternoon. That's fantastic. 6 fish for 4 guys is not stellar fishing. So what I found is a lot of times when I start getting fish on spoons, if I change to another offering, I can hook fish that aren't active enough to chase the spoons, and I can maximize the results. But again, spoons are a great way to cover water. They're a great way to determine areas that hold fish. I'm guessing because, you know, no one really knows this number, but I'm going to say at any given time, except when the bite is really wide open, when the fish are really hot, when they're really chasing, I'm going to say the spoon only appeals to 10 or 15% of the total trout population. You know, at any given time, you might have 10 or 15% of the fish that are very willing to chase, fish that actively, you know, are looking to feed. You might have 10 or 15% of the population that they're not going to feed no matter what. You could dangle power bait in front of their face and they're not going to go. And then, you know, you have that big percentage in the middle, that 70% of the fish that they're not opposed to feeding, but they're not going to go winging after this Magnum trigger spoon being pulled at 3.5 miles an hour, but they may well respond to a Trout Trix worm or a threaded night crawler or a wedding ring spinner or something like that that stays in the strike zone for an extended period of time, something they get a look at, looks easy to catch. Maybe you put some scent on it, they get a whiff of that, and it all adds up to an easy meal, okay? It might be between lunchtime and dinner time, but if I walk by a bowl of M&Ms and they're just sitting there on the desk, guess what? I might have, you know, a handful of them in my case. But that's the thing with spoons. So in my grand scheme of things, in my, you know, my strategy, most of the time these medium and larger size spoons are used as search baits anywhere from 2.5 to about 3.5 miles an hour. Now I know I'm probably going to question in the comments, how fast do I troll a number 2 needlefish, or how fast do I troll a Castmaster, or how fast do I troll a, you know, a trigger spoon pro UV finish spoon? Okay, I could answer all those questions, but here's the deal. Here's what you need to do. You need to take a few minutes out of the day, run your spoon arsenal aside of the boat. Figure out what speeds your spoons work best at. And, you know, I approach trout fishing from a 3 speed range kind of perspective. I think you want some spoons, some finesse spoons that are going to troll 1.5 to about 2 miles an hour. They're going to troll very well. They're going to have good action at that speed. You want some medium speed spoons like the trigger spoon, the full-size trigger spoon, that you control anywhere from, you know, 2.4 up to about 2.8 miles an hour. They work very well in that speed range. And you also want some spoons that you control very fast, like Speedy Shiners, or in this case my Speed Spoon, that you can take up to and beyond 3.5 miles an hour and fish them effectively. And of course, there's always some very versatile spoons out there. This is my Pinhead. The Crocodile spoon, some other spoons on the market are very similar in that this spoon works very well at low speeds. It has a very small, slim profile, but I can also troll it really fast. So it's very versatile in terms of speed. I can put that on if I'm going slow, 1.8, or I can put it on right next to this Speed Spoon when I'm going, you know, 3 miles an hour. So that's how I use spoons. That's how I think you should approach using spoons. Remember, all the lures in your tackle box, they're all tools. They're tools in your toolkit. They all have their own place and their own job. Don't be a 1 or 2 lure guy. Be ready to fish your whole tackle box, but that doesn't mean changing lures every 2 minutes and having a massive array of lures. That means having a strategic selection of lures in terms of color, sizes, and speed range. 1.5 to 2 slow, about 2 up to 2.8 or so, kind of medium speed, anywhere from about 2.7, 2.8 up to 3.5. That's fast. So that's my perspective. If you're looking for gear, get on over to fhstackle.com. You can also book a guided trip up there, and I'll catch you next time right here on YouTube. Well, we will do more discussion. That doesn't sound like good English. We will spend more time discussing how to employ trout spoons for maximum advantage. I'm Kel Kellogg. Have a wonderful day.